Hey there, welcome to this video. So this video is the first video of the JavaScript series that I'm starting, where I'll be sharing my learnings and explaining concepts while I go deep into JavaScript. And I'm calling this the Weird JavaScript series because if you really know JavaScript, you know that it is weird and at the same time really powerful and obviously interesting too. In this video we will be just getting started into JavaScript, and mainly you will learn the different types of variables that exist in JavaScript and the difference between them, which is something that is most often asked in the JavaScript interviews, so this might help. Okay, so now let's jump onto my screen. Okay, so if you want to work on JavaScript locally or build things with it on your computer, you need Node.js installed on your computer. So if you haven't, just go to this site. I'll be linking it in the description, and you can just download this LTS version because it's the stable version, and it will download an installer. Just install it, and just to check that you have actually installed JavaScript, what you can do is that just go to your command prompt and type node-v, and it should show you the version of Node that you have actually installed, right? And that's how you know that JavaScript is going to run on your computer, right? Cool. So in this series I'll be using this online editor, which is codesandbox.io. so if you're wondering, well, if it's online, how is it a web app? So it is actually installed. It is a PWA. So what you can do is that just go to codesandbox.io. It is really cool because you can just tap this new sandbox and you can just pin up any project you want to work on online. You don't have to just wait for npm and all that stuff. They do it all for you, and then you can just tap install button here, and that will install a native kind of web app in your computer, and then you can use it. And why I'm using this is because in one screen I can show you the editor, the console, and also the web page. Okay, so before I get into variables, let me tell you something that is general to programming and also even JavaScript, is that every line you write, or every command, or every instruction basically that you give to the computer or the JavaScript interpreter is called a statement, and every statement needs to have a semicolon at the end, right? So for example, if I declare a variable, right, where a is equal to 10, so that means that there needs to be a semicolon at the end, right? Now another thing is that when you write lots of these statements within a curly brace, right, within a curly brace, now this thing right here, like there are a lot of statements within this curly brace, right? So this right here is called a code block, right? And code blocks don't need to have a semicolon at the end of them, right? So this is something you just need to know. I just wanted to tell you. So here a weird JavaScript thing comes in, that it's your choice that you can either add a semicolon or not add a semicolon at the end of every statement, because what happens is that even if you don't add a semicolon at the end, for example, you are coming from a Python background, right? You don't have the habit of adding a semicolon, right? What will happen is that JavaScript does this thing called automatic semicolon insertion, which pretty much explains itself, that behind the scenes it adds the semicolon at the end of every statement so that you don't have to do it. But if you are coming from C++ kind of thing like I have this habit that I need to add a semicolon because it just feels weird and empty if I don't add one. But in JavaScript it depends on you. If you like it, you can add it or not. So there are basically three types of JavaScript variables, right? So these are var, let, and const, right? So basically these are the three types that you can use to declare a variable, right? So let's first understand what a var is, right? So var is actually a function scoped variable. So what does that mean? So let me tell you what do you mean by function scope. Okay, so scope means that these curly braces is called a scope. Okay, so inside whatever it is in there is actually a scope. Now function scope means that if the curly braces belongs to a function, and I'll just name it func here. Now this is a function scope. Okay, outside this it is out of the function scope. This right here is the function scope. Now if I declare a var variable inside this thing, right, cool. Now if I now just print this thing, okay, if I now just print this, what will happen here is that you'll see that it can't print it. It will say that A is not defined. And why is that happening is the proof that variable, the var thing, is function scoped. Outside the function it can't be accessible. It is just accessible within the function it is declared in, which makes it function scoped. Okay, so everything is going good. So why did we actually need let? Why did let came into scene if var was good? So let me show you the problem with var with this example. So for example, let me just declare another variable is equal to 10, and then I just want to do some other operation. So I will do if a is greater than 1. I just want to do something inside else statement. So for that, inside that statement, I want to declare another variable, which is also, I will name it a, because you know what, I just want to do something within it, and this thing has nothing to do with this. So what I will do is that I will just assign it 20, and now if I just console log this thing, I should be getting a, right? Because anything that I do inside if should stay inside if. Why should it come out, right? So if I just console log a, you will see that it will print 20, which is a problem basically, because why this thing inside if is coming outside? I don't want this, right? And the problem here is that, as we know, that the var is a function scope thing, right? But this is not a function, this is a if statement. So these statements, which are not functions basically and have curly braces, are called block scopes, right? So this is a block scope, and another example of block scope may be a while loop, a for loop. So these loops kind of things, or anything which is not a function and has curly braces, is a block scope, right? So the problem with var is that it leaks out of a block scope. It's just function scope. So to solve this thing, JavaScript introduced let. So if I just do, you will see, if I just do let here and declare the let variable, and if I just do let variable here, you will see that I will get 10. And why that happened is because let is block scoped, right? It stays within the block, it stays within this block, it can't be accessible out of this block, right? So that's the difference between var and let. Var is function scoped, it stays within the function, but is not block scoped, it leaks out of the block, as you saw. And to solve that problem, we have let, because let does not just get out of this block. Okay, so another cool difference between var and let is that var is both re-updatable and re-declarable. So for example, let me just declare var a is equal to 10, then I will again re-declare this variable and also will update it. And if I now just print console.log a, you will see that you just get no error and 20 will be printed, so everything works. But with let, it is just re-updatable, not declarable. So if I just do a let variable and I try to do a let here, so I'm re-declaring this variable, you'll see that you get an error that it already has been declared, right? Now if I remove this, if I just want to update this, I don't want to re-declare this, I'll just update this variable. Okay, you'll see that we will get 20, right? Because I'm just updating this. Okay, so enough about var and let. Let me just tell you about const. So const is this guy who does not care about anything happening around it. It will stay constant. Whatever is happening outside, it does not care, right? So the thing is that if I just do const a is equal to 10, throughout the program I can't change the value of this 10. Neither I can re-declare it, neither I can re-update it, I can do nothing. It will stay the same, right? So you will see that if I just do const a is equal to 20, that is not something. You'll see the identifier a is already declared. So you can see here it says the error is a is read only now, because I'm trying to update it, right? It's sensing that. So the thing is that with const you can't do anything, it is a constant. Yeah, so the thing is that whenever you declare a const, it just remains constant throughout the program. So let me just summarize what just happened about these three things. So var is actually function scoped, and let and constant, these two are actually block scoped, and var and let can change things. The variable can be updated, but with constant you can't update the variable. So these are some key main differences, and all the other things that I explained. Yeah, so that was the video. I hope you learned a lot about the differences between these three type of variables, and this is just the start of this series, and we'll be getting into much interesting stuff later. And if you're watching till now, just go down there, give a comment. It will be great to know you. And obviously if you liked the video and you got some value out of it, do smash that subscribe button. That means a lot. And if you loved it, you can share it in your socials, tag me up on Twitter. It will be really great to connect with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, have a great day and keep building.